America, brace yourselves for Baywatch Biden. Influencers can't get enough of Joe at the beach if indeed they're real. One tweeting, quote, backwards hat, aviators, and relaxation. Joe Biden is pretty cool. Okay, Harry, how much they pay you for that one? No word yet if he's going to be running in slow-mo, though. But Biden is on vacation all week, cruising around on his bike and hoping not to fall off. While the presidential pinup is building sandcastles, though, another Democrat is becoming a 2024 hassle. Congressman Dean Phillips is considering a run for the White House after opposing a Biden re-election. Does this make the Biden team nervous?
It doesn't have me nervous, frankly. President Biden has the strongest record of legislative accomplishment since LBJ, and you're beginning to see the impact. 13 million jobs created by the private sector, 800,000 good manufacturing jobs, 35,000 infrastructure projects out there in the country. Dean Phillips can't cite anything like that. The base of the Democratic Party, as broadly as I've ever seen in my life, is endorsing President Biden because of what he's gotten done.
Katie, can I posit a theory to you? Joe spends roughly 40% of his presidency on vacation. Is that a bad thing, given that when he's not on vacation, we go to pot?
I mean,
maybe the longer
maybe
he spends...
you do.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to call you out on a Monday. I actually think his strategy is a good one. I mean, Republicans are trying to figure out what they're doing. They have a primary debate. The DNC is protecting Joe Biden from a primary debate. There's no reason for him to get out in the press and say things that can be used against him at this point. And so it makes sense that he would be staying on the beach for a couple of weeks where Republicans spend money and try to figure out how they can possibly beat Donald Trump, even though they're 40 points behind. However, eventually, it seems like he's going to have to get out and do some campaigning. You know, Democrats have a problem with taking advantage of certain voting blocks and thinking that they're not going to have to work for votes. And I think that there's certain groups that are looking at his economic agenda, especially when it comes to inflation, and they're saying, actually, it hasn't been so good for me. And the White House has really been trying to sell it without Joe Biden out there doing it on his own. So, but overall, it's probably good for him to be at the beach for a while. Republicans are on the campaign trail, and he doesn't have to be till next year.
You know, Jessica, Democrats are saying that President Biden has the best record on legislation since LBJ. What does LBJ stand for?
Not doing it.
It stands for what? The BJ. Anyway, he does look great. He does look great.
I know that Jesse wants to talk about his physique in great detail, so I'm just going to say, for 80 years old, he does look great. And also the way that Joe Biden and Jill Biden go to the beach is like normal people, right? They're not by the pool at some fancy resort. Like, they're in their beach chairs with a cooler. And yeah, there's a Secret Service around, but they're on a public beach.
At their $6 million beach house,
So,
which someone
guys,
else paid for.
Please, if you look at that, that looks like two normal people going to the beach. I understand that they have a fancy house. So what at this point? And these Gen Z influencers, now there was a ton of articles kind of before the 22 midterms and then 2022, and then it happened again talking about how he's losing the youth vote. The youth vote is back, and they're all in on him now because of issues like climate change, student debt, and because he took off his shirt and he shimmied, which we don't have the footage of. And the Republicans like to make fun of this strategy of people getting out there with huge social media followings. They would give anything to have a kid with hundreds of thousands of followers say something positive about a Republican politician. But there's nothing going on in the Republican Party that aligns with what younger voters care.
Then you call him a Nazi. Some kid comes out as a conservative, he gets trashed online by the likes of you, Jessica.
If he has a swastika flag, maybe. But if not, I would never call him a Nazi.
You know, Jesse, some of the media are marveling at shirtless Joe. I think it's a relief that he took the shirt off at a beach and not at a restaurant where he thought it might have been the beach.
Yes, okay. That's a very low bar. I thought, and this proves that I'm not a Republican hack, he looked great. He looked great. How old is he? He's 80 years old. He looked trim. He looked good. It was staged, but I hope I look like that when I'm 80 years old. You said he looks like everyday Americans. I don't want that. He looks like my dad. I don't want him to just sit on the beach with a book. Or last time he was at the beach, he just passed out in the sun. Show me a little vigor. Go body surfing like Obama. I mean, Trump just hit a 9-iron about 6 feet from the pin
wanna see
on
Trump
the
with
ninth
his shirt
hole
off?
over the weekend. I do not want to see Trump with his shirt off.
Okay, just so we're clear here.
I don't want to see anybody with his shirt off except RFK Jr. and Greg.
Ah, thank you.
Okay? But obviously this was staged because he looked ridiculous, glistening with lotion all over, all hanging loose in a lounge chair that he couldn't carry 2 weeks ago. But do a little more than that. This guy, Dean, who's running, never heard of him, so goodbye. No one's afraid of Dean, not even Dean's wife. Widespread cover-up going on with Joe Biden, okay? He's dropping campaign finance charges against Minnie after they bought the Senate for him. And then he's trying to arrest his political opponent while he's trying to keep his son out of prison and quarantine this investigation from getting him impeached. This guy's in deep trouble. And the fact that he's still tied with Donald Trump at this point shows how deep of a trouble he's in.
You know, he rejected sunblock, Dana, because he said he'd already cured cancer.
That's true. That was
So they
last
had to
week.
force back.
I mean,
I have a question on you as somebody that worked in the White House. Where do the Secret Service, when they're at the beach, can they dress like in beachwear?
I saw one of them today. He was in a polo shirt and khakis. So he just has to stand there.
Yeah.
In a polo shirt and khakis because you kind of want to blend in.
Yeah, you do.
You know, but it's hard to blend in with dark sunglasses.
If somebody's
and
drowning
earpiece.
that isn't the president, do they have to act or do they just let him drown?
They don't. No, your first and foremost obligation is to the president. But I think that if the Secret Service were there and somebody were drowning, that they would try to help. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. What I was going to say is, so I'm often very comfortable with Congress being in recess and presidents being away. That means that they're not issuing executive orders that are going to make things more expensive for you, or like banning gas-burning stoves or your wash machine or anything like that. But the thing about President Biden being out there, do you remember when John Kerry was on the windsurf?
Yes.
And that video, and so he was out there windsurfing, and it was August, late July, August, and that became the campaign ad that said, do you want this guy to be your president? This is what he's spending his time doing. It wasn't relatable. Being at the beach, okay, that might be a little bit relatable, but the CBS poll just put him at his lowest approval rating of his presidency, including a horrible rating for his handling of the economy. And everybody that was on the Sunday shows that was a Democrat this weekend was trying to tell people, you will accept how great this economy is because you will do it. It was like there's not even trying to persuade. They're just telling people that they're wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that that's going to be a big problem. The last thing I would say is CNBC had a poll that said 61% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
There you go.
And so if you're sitting on the beach at a time when you really want to win this election, if you really want to win, I get it, taking a week off, but you're going to have to show a little vigor on the campaign trail when you get back.
The beach, another thing that Democrats have ruined. I probably won't go back again because of this event.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.